Hello, we got a new clutch. We got the stage 2 eBay. So we got a new throwout bin, new pilot, clutch alignment. It'll do the job. I don't really like how this is very thin. It's like almost no life. But you know what? For $60 on eBay, can't complain. Flywheel, new pilot bin. That goes there. I'm gonna put it on smoothly. Big hammer. On this side, it can be like a little bit of a gap. And on this side, it can be nice and flushed. And the bang still feels good. Next is, we can bolt the flywheel to the home. We have flywheel. There's only 6 bolts. These bigger boys right here. All you gotta do is put this baby in place. Like that. And just, oh! You don't want it to fall. But I have one hand on here so it just doesn't fully drop. Got the bolt. Thread one in by hand. Boom, that's threaded in. And then one more basically on the opposite side. So it can just be aligned. There you go, that should hold it. Got the rest of those bolts. And we're gonna impact these on a couple other duggers. I treat it like a lug nut basically. You can torque these to spec. I don't know what the spec is. And I don't feel like looking it up. If these get loose, you'll find out pretty quick. It'll start making shattering, clattering sounds. Another thing I forgot to mention, put this little plate thing on. But first you put this plate in the back, see that? And now you can tighten this, and you want to use the 12-point socket for these bolts. And now we can tighten it. I'm gonna do snug loose first. Make sure it's in place properly. Now I'm gonna do opposite, so a little here, a little here. Do like a star pattern, like a wheel. And then a couple other duggers. Now we're just tying these fellas. I give it a bunch of other duggers. I treat these both like lug nuts, so I did a good bit of them. But if you want to play it safe, you can also put thread locker. I would recommend using blue strength thread locker, because if you use that red shit, good luck taking it off in the future. But it'll be good and safe. I didn't use any. I've had a lot of luck with just tightening the shit out of these bolts. But hey, that is tight. Now I just got to put the clutch and the pressure plate. What we learned is, this has like a dick. The dick should be pointing towards the pressure plate. But another thing you want to do is you want to clean the surface. I cleaned it with alcohol. Now this is home. I also cleaned this with alcohol. So now we put the clutch alignment tool on here. Now it holds the clutch in place. And I can put this baby on. They can sometimes be a little tricky because you gotta line these pins up. Sometimes the pins just don't line up how they're supposed to. You gotta line up the pins and where the bolts go. But in my case, I think we got it lucky. So look, the pin lines up, but look, there's still a spot here for the bolts. Imagine. So we gotta keep turning it and turning it until we have a spot that lines up all the spots for a bolt to go in. Because we want all the bolts to go home. Now we have 6 bolts. One Mississippi.
The camera is literally not focusing. Hold on, you gotta go like this. Oh, there you go.
Okay, good. So far we have 3 going in. Shout out eBay clutches.
Will camera be like helicopter?
Damn airplane.
No, it's a helicopter.
Oh, even worse. And now I just tying these little by little. Oh, snap.
Holy schnitzel.
Dude, I'm gonna loosen these. I want this to be very comfortable. This thing is tight as schnizzle.
This thing is sehr gut.
There you go. See how this is nice? I'm gonna keep this in the middle. And I'm gonna tighten. Tight. This guy. Tight. Tight. And we're getting there.
Is it okay that I'm using your shoulder as a fan stand?
Yeah, that's fine. I've used random things all the time to hold the phony. Sometimes I have to use the ground. And there's a tight 14mm bolt. They don't have to be super tight, but like, you know, I want to do a firm tight. I'm just gonna do like a couple little uggers. So that.
Dugga.
Boom.
Okay. Ugga.
And then I might just tighten it with a ratchet. It's probably a torch sequence. Oh, look at that. The whole engine rotates. One more time. Boom. We tightened all these pressure plate bolts. They feel comfortable. I did a few ugga-duggas, nothing crazy. And then this should just pop off smoothly. Sometimes you hear a little pop, but hey, that is on. That is good. We have a clutch. Update, here's the valve cover. It looks kind of cool, I guess. We're about to paint it.
Guess what color we're painting it?
We got the old spark plugs out. Now we're gonna pop some new ones in. So we're removing this throwout bearing. It's honestly not in that bad of shape. It looks kind of new. But now we have a new one here. Might as well replace it. Even though I'm already here, I decided I'm gonna keep this bearing. And I have this metal ring protecting it. This one doesn't really have a ring on it. It's just a cheap eBay one. There's a quality one. That doesn't seem to be too loose or anything. I might as well use it, but if you're just shot and old, all you do is just back here, there's a spring. You have to put your finger in there and do the spring. Pretty much. Just pop it off this ball behind there. This whole thing will come out. What I'm gonna do is put grease on the little shaft so the throw bearing can slide back and forth very happily. I already made jack stand setup, so now that engine is being held very good. And for safety, I do have the engine hoist all set up too, so if it fails, the engine hoist will catch it. I greased up this shaft back here. It's nice and slippery, feels very smooth and buttery. I'm gonna get my hardware ready. I put on this newspaper. Then I'm gonna carry the transmission all the way to the engine. Let's see how it goes. Full through. I have this just in case it wants to tip down. That's as far forward as I can get it to go. I'm hoping that I slowly get the bolts in, work it in slowly, because I cannot get to going more than that. It went in pretty smoothly. I thought I used a little quarter impact, but it was too loud and it sounded like it was really tight. So I just grabbed a little ratchet. I only put 4 bolts, 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. I used this cart to basically have it as straight as I can to the engine. I just tied 2 on the top a little bit, 2 on the bottom a little bit. I'm trying to get them evenly. Okay, you don't want the top tight first and then leave a big gap in the bottom, because I can stretch out some of the components. But from the looks of it, it seems like it went in very smoothly, very well. Or you can check this or test it. Put your drive shaft in the back and twist it, or rotate the engine. Make sure the shaft spins. For now, I can slowly start to put these bolts back into place. So I'm gonna be putting all the bolts around. I cleaned up the bolts because they were very disgusting. Haven't been filming too much, but got all the bolts on. There's some extra hole for probably like an NB2. Probably have like extra hardware. But luckily the N8 only uses way less hardware. I got the starter and I got the safe blade cylinder in too. I put anti-seize on the 2 bolts. I have to put anti-seize on some of these bolts on the bell housing because they were pretty rough to go in and it was very rusty. I also, since I'm already here, I loosened the bleeder screws so I can know it's ready to go and it's not messed up. Something you should check out too is if it's very rusty, put brake fluid or PV Blast to let it sit and then undo it, because usually these bleeder screws snap. And then something else I did is I painted it black so it doesn't get much rustier. I also painted the hardware too so it doesn't get too rusty. That looks pretty good. And also on this end I painted this black so it doesn't get too rusty, because I know when it gets very rusty, then that bolt off is usually pretty difficult. But it looks very clean, very fresh. I say it's ready to go back in pretty much. But tricky part 2 is I am going to be making custom engine mounts for it. I'll be using hockey pucks. I'm hoping I can use 3 of them so it can lift up the engine a good bit. 2 hockey pucks will also lift it up a little bit. I want it to be lifted so it'll hit the subframe next time instead of the oil pan.